Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content to help you answer the question, why would you put a letter in the title of your movie if you don't want that letter pronounced? I'm your host, Asher Hobley. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
What movie are we talking about?
It
I don't know this
is
story.
Godzilla Kong.
Yeah, I know this. I found this out when they did, what was the last, Batman, right? No, wasn't it Batman v Superman? But you didn't say V, you just said Batman Superman or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Same stupid system. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't. If you don't want just to say the letter, don't put the letter in the title.
I think the problem is similar to. I think the problem is that the other movie was called Kong vs Godzilla or whatever.
Yeah, Godzilla vs Kong.
Godzilla
versus
Kong. So,
yes.
Versus and all this. They're running out of titles. I don't know why they didn't just. Well, I know why they can't. It's not going to draw as many viewers, is it? But really, this movie's again. No, I'll save my thoughts.
We'll save it for just a second. Let me just run through the spiel of this week's episode. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Watch Shashiri, going over some film news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and giving you this week's top 3. The movie that Dylan desperately wants to talk about is the big release, Godzilla Kong, The New Empire, the latest entry in the Monsterverse, directed by Adam Wingard, who directed the previous Godzilla vs. Kong. On the human side, we've got Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry returning, with Dan Stevens playing a crazy vet. So I don't really remember the event, how Kong vs. Godzilla
hold on, let me stop for a second. Did you talk about this last episode?
No.
I dreamt you did. I'm sitting in the theaters, right? Credits rolling. I go, will I talk about this on What Do You Want to Watch? And I'm thinking, well, you'll ask me about it, but you've already spent 5 minutes talking about it. I, for swear to Lord, I'm like, I know what you say.
I hadn't even seen it before the last episode, so I don't know what.
Don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah.
I think you've seen it. I think you talked to me about it.
No, I've been saving up, wait to talk to you about it. Yeah, so after the events of the last movie, Godzilla has moved to Hollow Earth. Is living there.
Kong has gone to.
No, Kong is has gone to Hollow Earth, chilling out in the middle of the Earth, with living his life as best as he can, being a little lonely boy. And Godzilla's on the planet and just going around doing whatever he wants, taking out Titans.
Godzilla's on Godzilla, man.
Godzilla is doing whatever Godzilla wants. He has made the Colosseum his little cat bed. Loves curling up in there and chilling out. Much to the disappointment of the Italian government. Kong decides to come back to normal Earth after he gets a toothache. Which captures the attention of Godzilla. Relatable. We don't brush enough. But then, yeah, Kong, there's some sort of signal coming from Hollow Earth that's affecting the kid that Rebecca Hall's character adopted after the last movie. One of the kids who was the last survivor from Skull Island has some sort of connection to Kong. So they all decide to go to her trapper, that played by Dean Stevens, and Bernie Hayes, played by Brian Tyree Henry, all go to Hollow Earth with Kong to check out what this signal thing is. And Kong happens upon Empire of Giant Apes. That's pretty much the movie. Dylan, what did you think?
No. I want your thoughts first once, because you've watched Godzilla. Whatever that last one was called that I haven't watched.
You haven't watched Kong vs. Godzilla?
No, the Japanese one.
Okay.
I want to know what it's like to go from that, which from my understanding is very good, everyone loves, still yet to watch,
to this movie, which I'm not going to say what my opinion is, but I don't think it's the same.
Because, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Is it shocking to say I didn't like the movie?
Yeah, it is a bit of a struggle to get through. I think this movie is in a tough spot. I feel like one is coming after Godzilla -1, which was fantastic. Had a fantastic human story, which just puts the spotlight now on the human story in this, which isn't really what they're mainly focused on or has put the most love and care into in this movie. But that all that stuff is kind of boring. And nobody is super interesting or relatable or super engaging, other than I guess Dan Stevens kind of is just brings a lot of personality to the role. So there's that. But on the monster fighting side, it's a lot of fun when they're actually fighting each other, beating each other up. There's like Kong hunt. The movie opens with Kong hunting in Hollow Earth. He's set a bunch of traps all over the place. He gets cornered by a bunch of wolves, and to scare off the last couple who are about to attack him, he rips a wolf in half over the top of him and covers himself in a bunch of blood and guts. And then he's just like, "Oh fuck, no, I need to have a shower," which he does under a giant waterfall, and that's all fun. And there are large swaths of this movie in which there's no dialogue. It is Kong with everybody's been calling him Mini Kong or Baby Kong. But there is a little child ape who he comes across, who I do enjoy at the start, because you see him in all the trailers, you're thinking they're just going to be pals straight away, or Kong's going to adopt him as soon as possible. And he just goes for Kong's eyes, just goes to fuck him up. And there is that...
Trick him into a
trap, into death. He tries to get him killed several times, but Kong wins him over. It's a fun little relationship, and we also do get that awesome moment of him swinging this child around using him as a bat.
Yep. Which
is amusing. I'm assuming the thing you wanted to say at the start of the episode is they should have just called it Kong : something, because Godzilla is a periphery character in this.
Yeah, Godzilla is completely pointless in this movie. Kong is like, I definitely feel like there is potential for a good Kong movie here, is what I would say. There is a lot of potential for a really good and interesting Kong movie, and they have lots of slivers of that. I really appreciated the times and the amount of time that you would have Kong just sort of play out like a silent film, and it was sort of a testament to how good the CGI is and everything, and they could tell little jokes and have moments, and just, even as you said, even from the start where he gets in the shower and he's like, basically like, for fuck's sake, now I'm all dirty, like. So like a lot of that personality comes through for him, and that's really good. I just, everything else, hey, so they have, again, like there's a lot of interesting ideas. Like they bring back the girl from the last one, which they introduced in the previous film as the human element to care about, the girl from Skull Island. She's introduced in the previous film. They're like, yeah, let's bring her back. I'm like, that's fine. Let's bring Rebecca Hall back. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I like Rebecca Hall. She's a good actress. They're like, let's have Brian Tyree Henry here. I'm like, cool. Then let's introduce Dan Stevens. I'm fine with that. I love Dan Stevens. He's very good in this. Hope more people suddenly get interested in Dan Stevens. He's very funny. But what they do with them is nothing. Like a few one-liners, whatever. They try and build the relationship. Again, lots of cool ideas. And then every single time we cut back to anything with Godzilla, it's like, yep, there he is.
Godzilla's objective. Godzilla's objective this movie is to get a really good suntan.
Pretty much. I mean, not to go too deep on spoilers, but old mate spends 90 minutes, I feel, traveling Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
90 odd minutes traveling, building up energy. Some people I've seen on Twitter compare this to Dragon Ball Z, which I get. Like Godzilla just goes in a fucking chamber at one point to get stronger, to get Super Saiyan. And then he gets there to the final battle at the end, and
it doesn't really feel like it pays off in any regard.
At any point, I'm like, what was all this for?
To justify a color change. That was
Pretty much. Sell some toys.
I mean,
it's look, I'll put it this way: out of this MonsterVerse, every single time they put out a new one, and I'm still just like, Gareth Edwards, Godzilla's the best one. Gareth Edwards, Godzilla's the best one. Gareth Edwards, Godzilla. Like that movie continues to stay the best one, and that movie's got problems, but that movie continues to stay the best one because it had the best story and build, and like it had like out of all. And then you get to this, and I go, yeah, look, if you want to watch a movie where it's Godzilla and Kong launching off one another's back towards other monsters, this is it. But there are so many weird plot points in this movie.
But I feel they didn't give us enough of it. That's my thing.
But they should have
separate. They're separate for nearly the whole entire movie. And then you get like 10 minutes, maybe, of them working together when you've been building the marketing as them working together. It should be a buddy cop movie.
This movie definitely has that problem.
Kong should be played by Godzilla should be played by Russell Crowe, and Ryan Gosling should play Kong, and they should be the nice guys. That's what this movie should be.
But I mean, the other problem with the movie is just that it has that thing where they build up a bad guy, and then this epic finale, and then the epic finale is what, like 10 minutes?
Yes. See, that's the other thing, you know? The bad guy isn't set up to be super bad. You're like told he's super bad. You're told his lore is like he's going to destroy the world. His big plan is like his big superpower is he's got a Titan ice dog.
See, yeah, and here's the thing: this movie is the most scary the Scar King ever sounds is when the movie spends 10 minutes doing a let me tell you why he's scary. At no point did I ever actually think he's scary. To the point, I actually forgot what he looked like because I've only ever watched the trailer like once. Mm-hmm. And he shows up, and I go, Kong's gonna beat this dude, but this is like the mini boss, and then the Scar King's gonna show up. And then it turns out it's the Scar King, and I was like, oh, I'm actually disappointed. You don't seem that threatening at all. So
I mean, he had a whip thing, you know. Good for him. But we did get Kong suplexing Godzilla in front of the pyramids, which was
pretty good.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And Kong should do more wrestling moves. That's what I want from him in the future. You know? Because, you know, he's agile enough, you know?
Give him the people's elbow, you know?
Yeah. I'll also point out, as someone who watched the Monarch TV series, this further hits on one point that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, which is the slight spoilers for the show, but they introduced the idea that when they travel to Hollow Earth, time moves differently, which doesn't seem to be the case.
How do they indicate that in the show? Like, they come back and not much time's travel that's gone, or something?
Other way around.
Time's gone further when they come back out. Yeah, these two properties aren't talking to each other at all, are they?
No. So there's that. Yeah, I don't know. The other thing is there is the most obnoxious needle drops all the way through this. Anytime Dan Stevens does anything for some reason,
and product placement.
Oh yeah, the Volkswagen car, which people pointed out it's
so funny. It cuts to the most commercial, like that shot of the car, like that is the commercial shot. Like
she's they're at a school. There's going to be car parks, but yet she's parked on the grass. The perfectly cut grass, you know?
It was so good.
Ridiculous. Anyway, that's Godzilla Kong New Empire. Go wait till -1 comes out, you know? That's all I have to say. It's also in a bad spot because like we're only like a month or two away from the next Planet of the Apes film. And that's what I feel like. True. It's in this weird spot.
It's monkey time. You got this. You got monkey whatever. Dev
Monkey Man. Yeah.
Then you got the monkey film.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird point where it's like it's not good enough to be the Godzilla movie. It's not going to be good enough to be the monkey movie. It's going to be kind of forgettable. But you know, if you're in it for giant monsters fighting each other, this one's got that at least. Dylan, you've put up a review for Baghead, a new horror movie starring Freya Allan.
Question mark? Yes, correct.
Yes,
So
nailed it.
Baghead is a film that stars Freya. It has a lot of. I mean, I like the trailer for this. I saw Freya Ellen was in it. So Peter Milan Milan was in it. I was like, man, this premise sounds really cool. I'm into it because basically the trailer like introduces the movie's about this whole idea that Freya Ellen inherits this pub owned by her dad who just died. And when she gets there, finds out that there's a witch who has a bag over her head, Baghead. Dumb title, but anyway, that's the explanation. Because also there's a Greta Gerwig film called Baghead. Not that she directed, but she's in it. But anyway, that's a much better film than this. So then she goes downstairs, discovers this, and then so the whole thing with the witch is you feed it something from someone you know who's passed along, and then she eats it, and then she takes it. You take the bag off, and she'll like turn into like she not turns into, but actually like becomes, and that person can speak from the other side, sort of thing. So it's the I mean, yeah, as I say in my review, this just helps me make me think about Talk to Me, which is a film about people who become obsessed with an object that can help them speak to people who've passed along. This movie has the same sort of ideas, but does nothing with them, and spends the majority of the movie just telling you and trying to explain how this witch works, why she got there, how she got there, the history behind the building, the rules in which you can and can't talk to her, how you can't do this, how you break it away from. It's like all just like plot, 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 plot. Gives nothing to the characters, and because of that, comes out at a 4 out of 10. I think is what I gave it. Off the top of my head, I think that sounds about what I gave it. Yeah, so I was very disappointed. I mean, the cast is fine. Everything they're doing the best they can given the material, but yeah, this was based on a short film. I think this is the case of, hey, short film. People like said short film. They must have liked short film because they want to know everything about the idea, not like using the idea to tell interesting stories, which the film could have done. So, yeah. Anyway, out and Shudder this week. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't rate it.
Don't read it. All right. So we've both watched a documentary that just released on Binge. It's a HBO documentary called "The Truth versus Alan Jones."
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Who fucking cares what his name is? So it's a documentary documenting the several court cases being held against Alex Jones, for spreading conspiracy theories and lies around the Sandy Hook elementary school shootings. Back in happened in 2012, so this has been ongoing for 12 years. If you don't know, for some reason, Alex Jones, host of InfoWars, which is a very extremist, far-right leaning web series show.
It's an online talk show.
It's an online news, in quotation marks, show.
And it's got a website and
yes, and everything.
Else, yeah.
But yeah, Alex Jones is a person who fed into a lot of far-right propaganda and media, and pretty much as soon as the story of the Sandy Hook mass shooting happened, as soon as it came across his desk, he immediately accused it of being a hoax, and an attempt by the government to use this as a chance to take their guns, which is crazy because the American government's never going to try and take their guns.
They're trying to take my guns.
Yeah. I found the documentary very interesting. Mostly, I think it does a good job of documenting the rise of Alex Jones from like a guy who was doing public access television to becoming a figure who had a very large audience who very much believed the bullshit he was spreading, and then also showcasing why the court case played out the way it did, I guess, and like how how the families were affected by his spreading of these lies, like through different moments that happened post the mass shooting and that kind of thing. I think the documentary, for most rational people, should put to bed any thought that it was a hoax.
I don't think any rational person would have had thoughts that it was a hoax,
but yes, very good documentary, well told, satisfying, I guess, in a way, but unsatisfying in another way. Would be my final thoughts, based on the ending of the film. And there's not much you can do about that because it's just real life. But Dylan, what do you think of the documentary?
Yeah, I thought it was really good, Doco. I think the best thing it does is, as you were saying, it does give history to Alex Jones, a necessary explanation to him. It doesn't sort of romanticize like him as this next level entrepreneur of journalism and stuff. It very much, like, at all points explains, like, he grabs onto the turn of the evil seeping within America, if you will, and he grabs onto that and uses that to rise to fame, by using fear mongering at all point and all these sorts of things that a lot of other people have now clamored onto. But he was one of the earliest to grab onto that shtick and ride it to millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I
mean, the fact that we Australians know who Alex Jones is, says a lot.
Yeah.
Even before,
yeah. I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, I remember years ago, I don't think I'd heard of him till. I don't think I'd heard of. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I heard of him until around this point. I think I became aware of him and started seeing clips of him posted was after he started going on the Sandy Hook stuff, which would make sense because as the doco covers, that was like a big blow up point for him.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that would make sense. I'm thinking, I'm like, I probably didn't see him until like 2013, 14. But yeah, if Sandy Hook was 2012, so yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, he is, I think, as one of the victims' fathers in this documentary says, he is someone who you watch and go, man, this is a terrible, disgusting, deplorable human being. And yet, much like watching a car crash, I cannot look away. Like that's the saddest thing I guess about him. But
yeah,
and it is insane that this is a real world document like this. You would like to think is a mockumentary. However, it is completely real. Like, this dude got 25% of America to think a mass shooting was fake. It was a deep state effort to take away our guns, which is insane when you
break down those facts. Yeah.
The fact that they had to go to a court case and everything over this is insane. Like, yeah, when you boil it down, you're just like, what a weird, crazy world we're living in. But I think the other thing the documentary does is it's really good at pacing between the victims and then Alex Jones and the victims, Alex Jones court case, so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved how much time was given to each and every single person each and every single one of the parents, of course, the ones that chose to be involved,
yes,
and the fact they name every kid who died.
Well, yeah, there's a segment where one of the
police officers or whatever,
someone who was like a first responder or something to the events, like talked through the events as they occurred, and listed every single person who was killed by this mass shooter.
Yeah.
And there's like segments of that I probably knew at the time, but I kind of forgotten, I guess, which is kind of disgusting to think about. Like, all these children were killed. Pretty much all these children were put into a bathroom to try and keep safe, to be protected, and this guy just walked in and opened fire and emptied a clip on or whatever. Just very sad, but also there's that last card of the film, like kind of, this is a movie that's going to make you angry, and then that last thing comes up and it just makes you a little bit more angry.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not. I don't really think you can spoil the movie. It's
no,
like Alex Jones is.
He's still doing what he's doing.
Yeah, he's still just doing what he's doing. Yeah, he hasn't paid a cent to these people, so
no,
and they make a point. One of the parents' lawyers at one point says the case is for how much he gets because he being a fuckhead that he does literally everything that you could do to fuck around the judges to the point that they just default him and say you're guilty. And then he's like, this is
outrage,
America.
I want my fair day in court.
My fair day in court. They're like, we tried to give it to you, but you didn't want it. So then the default is, then the court cases decide how much he gets. Now the jury could have decided nothing or $50 each, or like it could have been whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously they end up with a lot more than that. But yeah, one of the lawyers I thought was really interesting, especially knowing, like, I know that he's still working. I'm not watching the movie waiting for that big gotcha moment.
Mhm.
But the fact that one of those lawyers at some point says, "Man, but the idea is you got to get him with enough that he can not work in this industry anymore." Like you got to. It's not about like the
Yeah.
money for the people. For there's no set up.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
you just
trying
gotta,
to handicap him as much as
you
possible.
fucking
so-
like handicap him until he can't continue. And yeah, when he said that, I was like,
the other thing, I'll give them props for actually interviewing the lawyers of the opposition. Like, you've got to be bold to just, I'm defending Alex Jones. You'll make a documentary about this. I'm going to talk to you.
He sits there and goes, I think Alex Jones is a great person. He's given a lot to people in this country. I know I'm saying like Donald Trump now, but that's what
So yeah, check out The Truth versus Alex Jones on Binge. It's a infuriating but fascinating watch. Dylan, you've been watching the new Stan series, Population 11.
I did start Population 11. Gonna be completely honest. So I start this, I'm about 15 minutes into this, and I have a moment where I go, holy fuck, this is based on the documentary I've watched this year. Did you know this? Did you know what this
No.
is based on? So this is based on, I watched that documentary earlier in the year, the HBO one that came to Netflix, the last Larimer
Man.
or whatever, that one. This is based on that.
Really?
Like very loosely based on that, but like I'm watching it. It starts. You've got Ben Feldman's character. He's an American. He's arrived in Australia. He's driving to this buttfuck middle of nowhere town to see his father. Gets there. His father's disappeared. Where's his dad gone? Right. Then you've got all these other kooky characters, weirdos, whatever. You got the crazy lady doing her pies and all this. I'm watching. I'm going, this is hilarious. But it's taken the bare premise of man disappears, town of 11/12 people, disappearance, lots of weird and wacky characters. Let's insert Ben Feldman and there's another main girl, what's her name? Fucking killing time. Perry Mooney, who plays another girl who's like traveling through, and she ends up staying there because basically the pitch of the show is Ben Feldman wants to find his dad because his dad has money that he needs to take back to America because he owes people money or something. Then he puts up like a poster saying, reward money. Cassie is like passing through. She sees the poster, so now she wants to hang around and help. She's like, "Oh, I just want to help you out of the good of my heart." It's not really. It's like fully she wants help to get the reward money, of course. Yeah, and then every other character seems to be based on one of the townspeople from that Last Stop in Larimer documentary. 25-minute episode, something like that. I think I watched 4 or 5. I think it's 12 or some weird amount, 10, something like that. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I mean, obviously, I think Ben Feldman, if you enjoyed him in Superstore, he's like very similar-ish sort of character here. So if you like that, series is done by what's his name? Stephen Curry is like the creator and plays one of the characters in it. So if you ever liked watching, like obviously The Castle and any of his shows where he played I forgot what that TV show he did was called, but anyway, yeah, there's lots of Australian people in it. Obviously, Australian show. It's good. I would recommend it. It's fun.
All right. And then you started watching the completely made up adventures of Dick Turpin.
This is some good shit.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now. I went into this going, this is probably going to be my type of show. Like big Noel Fielding, Mighty Boosh fan, everything like that. But I went in going, yeah, like it's not like a full Mighty Boosh team. Like it's just got Noel Fielding in it. Like how Bushy-ish could it be? Like how weird are we going to get? The show's it's just Noel Fielding doing Noel Fielding things. His brother's still in it as a character. There's lots of other British actors I recognize from other things. Tasman Grieg's in it. Black Books. Mark Heap's in it. Know him from Space. Like all these people I know from lots of different places. Then the the to the point, like if you go like the type of comedy this is going for, it either works for you or it doesn't, because it is Noel Fielding just like wearing fancy capes and stuff like that, and going into bars when he starts up his gang, and then like pulls out things and he starts knitting, and his crew's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I was just going to knit a little it's going to knit a little cape for us, so like we could be a little team." And then of course you've got the other highwaymen like making fun of him and stuff like that, and he's does like a whole flashback at the start in the first episode, I think, where like flashes back to where he's supposed to be a teenager or something, and of course it's just he's still just Noel Fielding being the exact same age but apparently 10-15 years younger, where he's like working for his dad and supposed to be a butcher, but instead of doing that he's like crafted a whole particular castle and out of items on the table, and it's lots of weird oddity sort of stuff. It starts out, I think the first episode starts out and you think this is, oh, it's just like 1800s, whatever it is, Dick Turpin, which is a real person, I believe, or supposedly, from my understanding. It's like, oh, it's just gonna be like a comedy take on him, but all that time, like a little bit weird comedy, and we'll see how we go. As the episodes progress, it just sort of introduces more and more. It just gets a little bit wackier, I think, each episode. Episode 2 or 3, I can't remember, one of them, it's like the whole premise of this episode is it's a haunted cart, or like it's like a supernatural cart that no one can rob, and they attempt to rob it, and when one of his people from his gang go in and touches the gem, if you attempt to rob the unrobbable coach, you touch the gem and then you become the driver of the coach, and then you're stuck for eternity. So it's got like supernatural elements to it, but then of course following that there's a scene where he goes back to the bar, and then people in there, it's how'd you go? He's like, well, it didn't go good, like it took my man. And then it just got 4 or 5 characters repeating, well, you tried to rob the unrobbable coach, of course only an idiot would try and rob the unrobbable coach. Well, I didn't know you could rob the unrobbable coach. Well, only an idiot would try and rob the unrobbable coach because there's no unrobbable coach. Why do you reckon it's called the unrobbable? You know what I mean? Like it's just whole it's ticking a lot of boxes for me, so I'm quite enjoying it.
All right, next one on my list, I was surprised you were able to get to see. We went to cinema and watched Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah, good on the indie theater, you know what I mean?
Like, yes, let's put some queer murder films in here.
I check it like every week to see to make sure I'm not missing anything, because you can never know, And I'm like, I check Village first. I see they're playing Godzilla. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'll go watch Godzilla today. And I check this and see they have one session. I'm like, fuck, I'll go see that instead of Godzilla. And I was like, no, fuck it, I've got time. Let's do both. What a weird back to back. But anyway, then it led to my good tweet where I could say that turned out both be Titan movies. Weirdly fitting, especially if you've seen it. So, really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Cast is stellar, obviously. The cinematography is really, really good. The music. I mean, I think the thing I was thinking watching this actually was, it was reminding me a lot of fucking mental blank on his name. I was about to say who's the director that Hideo Kojima likes, but that isn't going to help me. Nicholas Winding Refn, right? It was reminding me a lot of one of his films, I guess. I could say, like, vibe wise, is sort of what I was getting out of this.
It's very grimy.
Very like, just here's a character story. Here's some weird things that happen. Movie ends. Make of that as you will. Yeah, I found it quite funny how whenever there's not a lot of violence, well, there isn't like there's few key moments of violence in the movie, right? And I really appreciated whenever there was, it was very visceral, right? Very violent whenever something actually violent happened. And there's a lot of gross shit that also happens in this movie. And there's a girl, like there's 2 girls and a guy watching it a couple rows in front of me. And every single time something gross or yuck or someone got killed or something gory happened, I would just try not to laugh, because I'd see this one girl like in front of me, just she had the most like reactions every time, like very visually, like, oh. There's a part where she like sticks I think one of the ones where she sticks a syringe into her fucking toe when she's doing steroids, and I was like, oh! even that
would got a reaction. That's
that one got a reaction. Yeah, then anytime there was I don't know, Oh, well, no, it's not really a spoiler. If I just say old mate's jaw, the
Yep.
several times that showed up on screen, and I think it shows up 2, 3, 4 times, I would just see her like hit, oh, and then it would like 2 minutes of something else happening, and then it would come back and there's a jaw again. There's oh,
Yeah.
So that was quite fun. Yeah, I think it's hard to talk about the film, I guess, without spoilers, but I would say I think the movie, at least from my interpretation, is it's like a coming of age film for these characters breaking free from their own very different but their own what's been like weighing them down in their particular lives and stuff like that. And then I mean, I don't think it's not supposed to be that obvious. I mean, the last frame in the movie I think just says what it is, right? It's well, not the last frame, but like one of the last frames where they're literally like running free, you know, like
Yeah,
sort of.
people have seen that. It's crazy. That shot is in the trailer.
Yeah, and it's like near the end.
And then you see it in context.
Yeah,
like,
you're like, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's way different than...
Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah. So, I definitely feel like you can discuss a lot around... That's what I got from it. I thought it was pretty... I don't think it's heavy-handed or anything, but I just thought it was pretty obvious. Like, it's just a very character-driven film /
There's a lot of metaphorical elements to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
As it's about these women just in lots of different ways. Like, so you got one that's like sort of trying to get into a very men's role, male dominated area. She's also being used by men throughout her whole life, and they hint at a lot more, and she even hints at stuff that you never hear about, and you don't need to hear about it, obviously. That's the point. And then you've got Kristen Stewart's character, who's held down by so many men within her life. Her father, her sister's husband, the men
Dave Franco's
work. Yeah, Dave Franco is indeed a piece of shit. All these things. And the movie, I think that it's about these characters, they fall in love, and there's a love story element to it, which is really well done, and different, not something you've ever seen. Well, not something I've ever seen in a film before, these two types of characters falling in love. But yeah, it's ultimately, I think, just about them breaking free, which is why they have that fucking song that plays. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really, really good.
Great.
Very different to Rose Glass's last film, which was
the religious
had a wild ending as well, but not like bit different.
All right. You also watched a movie called The Stolen Valley.
Stolen Valley. I have a review up by the time I listen to this. I think I gave it like a 4.5 or something like that. Lots of really cool idea behind this one, just does not come together. So written and directed by Jesse Edwards, first time feature for them. It's about a girl called Lupe, Mexican Navarro woman, mechanic. Her mother falls ill with cancer at the start of the film. She then sets out to track down her father, who she's never met, but he potentially has money and lives on a big lot of land. So she sets out to find him and to ask him for the money to help save her mother. Along the way, early in the film, she meets up with what's the character's name? Maddie, and she's a cowgirl. She's in town. She's riding bulls and shit to earn money. She also works and does deals with local cartel, and she's fucked one of them over. So Lupe happens to be in this pawn shop at the same time that she's in there, and a shootout happens, and Lupe accidentally gets involved when she drops a gun and fucking shoots one of them in the feet. Oh no, now they got to team up and they're crossing the country together. Behind it all, lots of heavy-handed, unlike the other film, lots of really heavy-handed elements around stuff that is very important to talk to, but I just don't feel like was done well in this film, about obviously the Native American people, their land, how they're in different ways through to today, just consistently getting still fucked over and displaced and all these other sorts of things, and their cultures are disappearing, and even some of their own people don't know their own culture, and you got this pairing up. It's like you've got her stuck with, you've got Lupe stuck with a Maddie, like the most white girl last name. She's white cowgirl, like it's a very obvious pairing, I think, for the ideas of the film. But then whenever they try and do any of the stuff, it just doesn't. They it's the most like on the nose telling you about it, not really having these characters talk about it and work out things together. And the movie has one of the widest jumping of the shark plot things I think I've seen in something recently at the end. It was insane to the point I nearly had to pause the movie and go, wait, are we really doing this? But they did. I think the most disappointing thing is, especially considering this is a Western, and it definitely sets out, you can tell that the set out has been, I want to make a Western, but like a modern Western that's not, racist or anything like that. And just, modern age Western. The problem with that is the movie, and Westerns are known for a lot of action usually and shootouts and stuff. The shootouts and action sequences in this are all bland, boring, not shot well, not choreographed well, not even planned out well, to the point the characters like sort of run out of scenes to go do stuff and then they come back in with no repercussions, and it's very weird, like the way they're all paced out and stuff. So definitely for a first feature, a few too many amateurish things from the script through to the direction, I would say. Although it does have a very good moral compass and idea around what it wants to say, especially about the genre, I guess.
All right. And then I watched the Spider Within, a Spider-Verse story, which is a new animated short film which is released on YouTube, Sony Pictures Animation YouTube channel, and probably has been shared a bunch of different places now. So it's a short film set between the first two Spider-Verse movies, and it's only about 6 minutes long. 6.5 minutes long, and it's Miles kind of, she's struggling a little bit with like balancing everything and is having balancing work, being Spider-Man with going to school and all this kind of stuff. And he kind of has like a little mental break in his room where he has like these slight hallucinations, but then he talks with Dad and everything's fine. It's a fun little short. I mean, it's they've released it in conjunction with the Kevin Love Foundation, which I think is a mental health charity. And obviously, it's like a little short film about anxiety and that kind of stuff. The need to talk to the people who love you and that kind of thing. Obviously, it is very well animated. It was made through the Sony's Lens program, which is Let New Voices. No, what was it? Leading and Empowering New Storytellers program. So it's directed by Jarrell Dampier, who I don't think has done anything. Well, obviously he wasn't one of the directors on any of these Spider-Verse films. But yeah, voiced by, got the Shamik Moore and Brian Tyree Henry voicing Miles and his dad. Really well animated. My only critique would be like the music is not, it doesn't feel like a Spider-Verse movie because the music is not up to that level, but also the minimalist element of the music probably works for the short film in itself. So yeah, if you're a Spider-Verse fan, check it out. It's only like 6.5 minutes long. It's a little beautiful little short film. So yeah, check that out. Let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. The only thing either of us watched Netflix. Dylan, you watched American Conspiracy: The Octopus Murders. Now, when I talked about it several weeks ago, I think at this point,
it was, yeah.
You're like, I don't know what the fuck you talked about just then. Now, having watched it,
I'm here to tell you that I've watched all 4 episodes and I still have no fucking clue what this is about. This is the most engaging 4 hours of rubbish I think I've watched all year. I would watch every episode and go, what the fuck am I, like, what's going, anyway, next episode. And then you'd watch it and go, what the fuck is next episode? All right, there's a guy murder. It ends and they go, oh, moral of the story is conspiracies are bad. And I go, what the fuck was this? I just wasted 4 hours of my life and I couldn't help it. Anyway, I'm undecided if this was the worst thing secretly the best thing I've watched all year. I don't know. Fucking weird ass documentary this was. I highly don't recommend watching it unless you're high, maybe. I wasn't high, but
It's
maybe I
very
should have
bingeable.
been. Yeah.
It's very bingeable.
Just be prepared to go, the things I could be doing with my life instead right now. And yet, next.
Okay. Was he murdered or was it suicide?
Who? What? What character? I don't. The guy at the start of the news
The
reporter?
journalist. The original
He's
journalist.
fucking murdered. That part's obvious. The second the dude goes, you can't cut your wrists if your other wrist is cut because your fucking tendons. I go, yep, pretty straightforward that. And then they're going, here's 3 hours trying to work out the rest. I go, no, we could have just that part's straightforward. The rest of this shit, fucked if I know.
Yeah, it goes very high up the chain of command
Mm.
in the conspiracy. Yeah, I thought it was interesting in regards to it being a cautionary tale about going down the rabbit hole, of certain things. And maybe you found that to be a super effective message.
I think that the message is the rabbit hole is real. But the second you're sucked into it, you're fucked because you'll never get answers and you'll never escape it. So just go through life accepting things that are, never question anything because it's only going to make your life worse, right? So that's what I got.
It's only going to make your life worse.
Yeah.
All right. That's everything that
Hold
we're
on.
watching.
I want to put into perspective how weird this. There's a part in this documentary where a little old lady who's a journalist, I think at some point, she goes, I was at a dude's house and he's like, have you seen the fucking Kennedy shooting? And she goes, yeah, of course I'm saying. He goes, no. And then he goes, you've seen the doctored footage. And then she said that he showed him real footage where the fucking driver turns around and shoots Kennedy. And she's like, that's doctored. And this is in like the 90s or some shit like that. I don't know, the late 80s. And then he's like, nah, this is what you've seen. And it turns around and they show the real footage. And then she says, the guy points out that the tree in the back has a piece missing. And it does. I went on YouTube after. What the fuck? Moving on. Anyway, I don't want to. It's fine. We've moved on. Kennedy's no longer relevant. Who cares? Was it the driver? Who's to say?
If they conned us all, they conned us all.
They conned us all.
In
They've
fair
won.
play,
They've won.
you know?
Yeah, fair play.
You know?
At this
Good
point,
job.
was the moon landing real? I don't know. Who's to say? It could be flat.
No, I'm pretty sure it's around time.
I'm just saying.
Very confident on that one. All right, let's move into a little bit of film news. It's been pretty quiet because, Easter. But it looks like Disney's plans for Pirates of the Caribbean will see the film series get an entire reboot. So Jerry Bruckheimer was talking to comicbook.com in promoting the upcoming Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and it was asked whether he believes we'll see Top Gun 3 or Pirates of the Caribbean 6 happen first. He didn't go into detail, but he did suggest Pirates is looking to make a fresh start with the upcoming entry. Here's what he had to say about it. It's hard to tell. You don't know. You really don't know. You don't know how they come together. You just don't know. Fucking hell. Because with Top Gun, you have an actor who is iconic and brilliant, and how many movies he does before he does Top Gun, I can't tell you. But we're going to reboot Pirates, so that is easier to put together because we don't have to wait for certain actors. Dylan, how do you feel about them rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean, and what would you want to see in a Pirate Caribbean reboot?
How dare they? This is an outrage. I'm so upset by this. The classics, like.
Yep.
How
The first three are.
First one is, yeah, that's for sure. God, I don't care. I feel like my honest thoughts, hot take. I think the first one's the only good movie. I think after that they're pretty avo. By the time you get to the third one, similar to American Conspiracy Octopus Murders, I go, what the fuck is going on? I think I've got the fourth one on Blu-ray. Never watched it. The one with Penelope Cruz or whatever, right? Yeah.
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 Yes.
Never watched it, but yeah, good for them, eh? Good.
Did you watch the fifth one?
There's a fifth one, right? No,
Yeah,
let's say no. Let's say no.
Thought.
Who's in the fifth one?
That's what I thought. Johnny Beck come back with Brendan Thoules and Chaos Scalario.
When did that come
Scaladeria.
out?
That one came out 2017.
Whoa.
Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, on my 39 Metascore, eh? Yeah, crazy. Anyway.
Crazy.
It's wild they're rebooting it after that.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Part of
Rush.
me is like, do you really need to reboot this one? You know, maybe just leave it. You know,
Well, the thing is,
leave it live for a little
what
bit
you
longer,
don't
maybe.
understand, Ash, is Disney sitting there at the moment. They're going, "Fuck, we're running out of money, right? We need a hit movie franchise. Now we could spend some time trying to come up with something new and original that draws in audiences with interesting characters and ideas and themes, or we could just continually reboot something until we hit a gold mine again."
I mean, the crazy thing is they bought a bunch of IPs through the Fox deal, and yet they're still going to regurgitate the same things they were regurgitating before. Yeah, I would. My gut says, you know, nobody really wants a Pirates of the Caribbean reboot anytime soon. But you know, there is always the case of, you know, we don't know what we want until it's actually put in front of us. I think if they are going to do a reboot, one, they need to get a director who's, you know, got a visual sense of style. Obviously, the Gore Verbinski movies were, you know, he put himself into them and like gave the films a style and tone and that kind of stuff. You know, that kind of, you know, made it stand out. So you can't just get whatever $7 direction actor, you know, to come in and do the Pirates of the Caribbean. I think they need to not try and replicate Jack Sparrow in any way. They need to just steer away from that, you know. I think they could like go for a different tone. Like, I don't think it necessarily needs to be super funny, wacky, supernatural kind of thing. They could
we
like
casting?
go. I don't know.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens, sure. Yeah, we'll put him in a blousey jacket, t-shirt. You know, put a hat on him, go around. You know,
Done.
And yeah, it just, I guess, practical as much as possible.
Why?
And
We got the volume.
that's true. It's probably cheaper, you know. Just get a mechanic to like rock the boat. I mean, if you're going to commit to the volume, make sure you're like using it properly. Is the only thing, you know. Don't like, you know. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. You know, I feel like what they've tried to do with at least with the last couple, they like bought the rights to like different pirate books and like try to adapt them within the franchise. I think that's not a terrible direction to go. You could make Pirates of the Caribbean an anthology-esque series with new characters every time. Even though that's probably not what they want. They want stars to keep returning and that kind of stuff. But you could like build a bigger world, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I mean, obviously this isn't the first talk of, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean new one. They had Margot Robbie attached in discussions at one point to reboot the series and that kind of stuff. I don't know if that fell through. But yeah, I guess we'll wait and see if this actually is the thing that happens. Yeah. Crazy that those movies are like the original movie's like over 20 years old, which is scary. Fucking time. Anyway, other interesting story this week. The Cannes Film Festival is leading to the rise of multilingual adaptations of buzzy European films. The festival unveiled the launch of Cannes Remakes, set to debut at the upcoming Film Market Edition from May 14th to the 22nd. The March du Film Festival de Cannes, in partnership with CNC, French National Centre of Cinema and Moving Pictures, will spotlight a hand-picked selection of the finest European intellectual property titles ready to be remade into new film adaptations. The program is made with the support of the collaboration of the Institute of Cinematic and Audiovisual Arts and the Directorate General of Cinema and Audiovisual Italian Ministry of Cultural and Cinecittà. So the executive director of March 2 Film says remakes are injecting a fresh dynamism into the film industry, hinting at a notable shift. We're excited to support this evolution through Khan remakes. It's not just about English language remakes. There's a rising trend of adaptations across various languages. Audiences are drawn to narratives that resonate with their distinct cultural nuances, paving the way for diverse global storytelling. We aim to expand the IP market in Khan and create a platform where IP holders can engage with producers and IP buyers, unlocking potential business opportunities. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Khan working as an intermediary between foreign language producers and potential, I guess, making more English remakes or other kind of remakes?
Tell me why, why?
Because Coda won a best.
Yeah, I think it's dumb. Obviously, I think everything they just said, or whoever was just quoting, I forget the person's name, but I think what they're saying, I just don't agree with. Where it's like, people want to see this, like the thing. Let's look at like Another Round, right, which they're doing a remake of.
Mm-hmm.
Another Round. If you take that film out of its cultural area and like what drinking means to its cultural significance and all these other elements within it, and then you just remake it, you lose a lot of the cultural things, right? And
You assume.
Yeah, I'm assuming. And most films, when they're remade, you lose the cultural things. So it's like if you remake Parasite, will it still have a lot of the elements that were there from the original? Maybe, maybe not. They remade Dinner for Schmucks, French film, original, fantastic. American remake, terrible. Lost all of what made the original film good. The remake was absolutely a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that's the case. I think the idea, the pitch that we're remaking movies to bring them to other audiences so they can experience other cultures by taking other cultures' films and then Americanizing them, basically, or vice versa.
I don't think they're taking other people's cultures. They're taking stories from other cultures.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, yeah, but that doesn't work for me. I'm like, if we want to expand our horizons as a society, especially within film and TV or whatever, then you should go watch the original product. And if you don't understand some of the nuances, maybe that's a good time to explore and learn more.
I would say in a lot of those cases, this actually works as a gateway drug to getting people to go watch the original. How many people do you think have actually watched the movie that Coda was based on? Probably
I
not that
haven't even
many.
watched it,
So, but I'm sure the number of people who went to look at it up probably went up exponentially when Coda was made. And I'm fine with this because it is another revenue stream for these original movies to these producers of the original movies, who then could go on and make more original movies in their native countries. And as they said there, it's not like only going the one way. It's not just them going to. Not everything's just going to be an English remake of a foreign film. Like, India is very well known for making Indian versions of other international films. I saw,
but at least they go ham with their remakes, right? They're not just we're gonna the problem with I think with American / Hollywood remakes is it's just like we're just gonna take the film and more or less just attempt to one for one it without fully understanding any and all nuances that went into the original making of the film. I mean, they even did that with fucking Psycho. They remade an American film just shot for no reason at all. They just love doing that. Apparently.
Well, just if you could,
At least when you go Bollywood, they're like, we're going to fucking Bollywood. It doesn't. You cannot put a Bollywood movie next to a original and go, these things are very similar. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very much in execution. That's the key thing, And Hollywood does not have the best track record. But most things that are made are misses than hits. So I mean, When you think about it, in the last 20 years, 2 Best Picture winners have been, foreign picture remakes. So, in Paul Scorsese's movie, I keep thinking it's Infernal Affairs, but it's not. It's
The Departed?
The Departed, yes, and then Coda.
2005?
Yeah, that's a foreign film remake.
Yeah. But did
Yeah,
you say
so-
recent?
I said in the last 20 years.
Oh, right. I was like,
So one every 10 years is a foreign film remake. So, that's a pretty good track record. I will say, I know we're about to jump into trailers, but apparently there was a trailer out for a Korean remake of Anaconda. No, a Chinese remake of Anaconda. So it's everybody making remakes of everybody's stuff, So as long as everybody's getting paid fairly, and hopefully they try their best to, emulate the original work as best as possible. And horror movies have done. There's been a ton of horror movies that are made for foreign film versions, and then everybody goes and watch the original because they reckon that's probably scarier than the American version, right? Everybody goes and watch the Japanese Ring and
Grudge, and they had that early
Let Me In
2000s
and-
period of just let's remake every Japanese horror movie.
people just need work done. So there was just a writer strike. They can't come with any ideas. All right, let's move into giving some thumbs to trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, we've got Unfrosted, directed by Jerry Seinfeld, starring Jerry Seinfeld, Melissa McCarthy, Jim Gaffigan, Amy Schumer, James Marsden, Jack McBrayer, Thomas Lennon, Bobby Monahan, Maria Bakalova, Max Greenfield, Bill Burr, Dan Levy, Christian Slater, and Hugh Grant. In 1963, Kellogg's and Post, sworn cereal rivals, race to create a pastry that will change the face of breakfast forever. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Unfrosted?
The top comment on the trailer, at least when I watched it when this came out a couple of days ago, was someone just said, "This is basically Jerry Maguire doing a." So what's the deal with Pop Tarts as a stand-up joke?
Jerry
I'm like,
Seinfeld? Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, sorry. What's the deal with Pop jokes as a joke? I'm like, yeah, I think that's the movie.
I think that's actually the origin of the movie.
Yeah,
Like, literally.
wouldn't put it past it. I'll go one up, one down. It looks better than I thought it would be going in. A lot more, given Jerry's past, like what directing is the B movie
I think so. I don't think he's
TV stuff, like, but that's theatrical.
episodes of his TV show, yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Maybe
Driving around.
someone's driving around. I don't know. Like he hasn't. Yeah, and doing a lot. So it sort of came out of nowhere. But yeah, I'll go one up, one down. Looks interesting premise, everything like that. I'm just afraid it'll get into that stage where it thinks it's too funny and like it looks like it will do that thing where it lingers on joke that's not that funny and just like double down on it. I'm like, just move on. Next scene. Scene. And it's weirdly, I'm getting, and this isn't a good thing. What was that Netflix movie that had a really funny trailer and it turned out to be shit? The Bubble.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I was thinking of watching this. I'm going, man, this is giving me Bubble vibes. Not a good thing. But yeah, I'll go one up, one down.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up. It looks like a fun time. I was surprised that it was so comedic. I thought they were going to play it a little bit more serious, but it seems like they've taken the idea of. I thought it was going to be more of a true story. That's what I would say. Like they're pointing out the ridiculousness of the thing that happened, but it seems like they're going crazy and zany and, what is it? My husband works in cereal. Why did he blow up? Is amusing to me. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a little bit over the top or surreal. Which, I can be on board for. So that is Unfrosted. That is coming to Netflix on 3rd of May. Next trailer is for Under the Bridge, created by Quinn Shepherd. Well, written by Quinn Shepherd, starring Riley Keough, Lily Gladstone, and Archie Panjabi. Rena Kirk, a 14-year-old girl, went to join friends at a party and never returned home. 7 teenage girls and a boy were accused of the savage murder. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Under the Bridge?
Double thumbs up. Love the cast. Love the trailer. Just gives me that, them dark HBO like detective vibes. But
It's got
on
Mirror of
HBO.
Easttown vibes.
Yeah, it does. So yeah, it ticks a lot of boxes as for the shit I like to watch on TV. So yeah, double thumbs up.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I think this is really well done. Obviously, I'd I'd be interested to see how much Lily Gladstone was actually in it, and then her Oscar campaign started, and then they're like, we need to put her front and center.
I mean, she looks like
Because to me, it looks like it's a Riley Keough led series, but they're trying as hard as possible to make it look like
they'll be upset.
They're on equal footing. But I could be wrong. But that's just my general opinion. But yeah, it looks like a good start. Looks interesting. It does give Mare of Easttown vibes and if it's Mare of Easttown, but Lily Gladstone is Kate Winslet, I can be on board with that. Obviously, it's based on a true story. So yeah, I mean, this trailer has enough mystery around it to make me want to go watch it, and I'm glad they held all restraint and didn't play Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge.
I mean, the part I'm wondering is, I'm like, what that damage is like, take me under the bridge. I'm like, how hard is it to find your way under a bridge? Like, just
walk to the bridge and then find a way down.
You find a way down. Like, yeah.
It's usually like down a hill.
Come on, girls! Like,
unless it's like one of those cliff bridges, I guess that's the only
secret entrance.
Anyway, this is premiering on Hulu on the 17th of April. There is currently no Australian release date.
Maybe Star.
Next trailer is for The Spiderwick Chronicles, created by Aaron Eli Coletti, starring Lion Daniels, Christian Slater, Noah Cottrell, Joy Bryant, Michaela Lee, and Jack Dylan Grazer. Helen and her children, 15-year-old fraternal twins Jared and Simon and their sister Mallory, move to their ancestral home, Spiderwick. Jared discovers a Bogart and realizes that magical creatures are real. The only one to believe him is his great aunt Lucinda, who implores Jared to find the pages of her father's field guide to magical creatures and protect them from the murderous ogre Mulgarath. Dylan, are you familiar with the Spiderwick Chronicles?
I'm familiar with it being a book and a film, neither of which I have know anything more about.
Yep, same. So what do you think of the trailer?
Double thumbs down, did nothing for me. Yep. I felt nothing.
Okay. I mean, it's one up, one down. I mean, it's fine. It looks like it'll be a fun family show. Christian Slater looks like he's having a good time doing whatever he wants. But not a lot else there. I'm sure, it seems like they're skewing closer than the movie to the books. But yeah, it's a property I have no interest in, and it is coming to the Roku channel on 19th of April. So I don't know of any way to watch it in Australia.
Get your Roku subscriptions.
Next trailer is for Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, directed by Wade Elaine Marcus, starring Simone Joy-Jones, Miss Pat, Jermaine Fowler, June Squibb, and Nicole Richie. Tanya finds her summer plans cancelled when her mum jets off on a last-minute retreat, and the elderly babysitter who arrives at her door unexpectedly passes away. Dylan, are you familiar with Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, starring Christina Applegate?
Nope.
So yes, apparently it's a cult classic, but it was negatively received on release. So what do you think of this trailer?
Looked pretty fun. I have some questions. The mum goes away forever?
No, she's like going on a retreat or like on a holiday.
For like what?
For the summer, I'm guessing, for some reason.
Yeah, okay, because when they're like, man, we gotta get a job and shit. I'm like,
yeah, that seems like.
I was like, holy shit.
It's like, yeah, that seems like an extreme reaction to your mum going away for a couple of days.
It does. I was like, oh my god, like, did we kill the mum as well? Like, kill June Squibb and the mum? Yeah, looked pretty fun. I'll give double thumbs up. Actually, I think that looked like an entertaining time. Pretty funny joke. I can already see the moral of the story, but that's fine.
Yeah, I'm also unfamiliar with the film. So for me, this is one up, one down, because I'm disappointed it isn't actually about them having killed the babysitter. and them having to deal with the ramifications of
What if the twist is
that.
that one of them?
You know,
did
it's
kill
a
them,
Weekend
so-
in Bernie's-esque situation.
Mm.
It still could be. I mean, the clear thing with this is they've decided to do a African American remake. The original, obviously, starring a white cast, and how that differs. And I believe this was like funded by BET in America,
BET.
and like
At the
Tyra
start,
Banks
where
is
it's like
executive
a
producer.
BET production, I was like, okay.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it looks amusing enough, but it's definitely not something I'm dying to watch anyway. So this one is releasing in America on the 12th of April. There is currently no Australian release date.
Is Puff Daddy near this? He's not in the
Hopefully not.
producer's credits. It's okay. I'm safe.
Last trailer for this week: Bad Boys: Ride or Die, directed by Adil and Bilal, starring Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Vanessa Hudgens, Alexander Ludwig, Paolo Nunez, Jacob Scipio, Joe Pantoliano, DJ Khaled, Tasha Smith, Eric Dane, Ian Grufford, Melanie Libbard, and Tiffany Haddish. When their late police captain gets linked to drug cartels, wisecracking Miami cops Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett embark on a dangerous mission to clear his name. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and how disappointing is it this one isn't called Bad Boys for Life?
For Life. Yeah, very disappointing. I'm going double thumbs up. I'm keen for this. I actually quite enjoyed the last one. Seeing Arby and Falah continue the directorial duties gives me hopes for this one, because I thought they brought a breath of fresh air, and I quite enjoyed their style with the past film. So crazy that they filmed Batgirl, had time to do a funeral, and then make this. But it's crazy what's happened over the last couple of years. So yeah, double thumbs up. I'm weirdly keen for a Bad Boys film.
Well, from memory, enjoyed the last one.
I did. I actually thought it was. I think people wrote it off before it came out, and I sort of was expecting it to sort of be trash as well. But yeah, getting that Michael Bay's hands was quite good, I think.
I'm gonna go one up, one down. I just feel like the plot is a little bit derivative, or uninspired. Oh, someone has framed the police captain for working with the drug cartels, and we're going to go clear his name, and then we become fugitives who need to go on the run.
I don't think they've been fugitives before, though.
No, not within this franchise, but just in the mythos of action movies.
Buddy cop action movies stuff, definitely a done thing, but I guess eventually you got to do it.
Yeah, I guess. There's only so many reasons
each franchise
to stay together.
I think that the thing that they got to do, and I think the reason they went with this direction, at least that I'm going to believe, is because they wanted to give some more time between the characters and Armando, which is spoilers. Will Smith's Mike's character's son. That was the thing from the previous film.
Okay.
And as you see in this trailer, so he's the bad guy in the past film, and then the twist at the end is that he's it's actually his son, and he didn't know. But he's the one in the cage, and then he's also the one after the plane crash. He's like, man, you're a terrible whatever he says, outlaws or whatever. I think the twist is fugitives. I think the twist is so they can get more time with that character, which works for me because that character had to go to prison. So but he also, by the end of the film, sort of, you could see he was potentially coming back, from the dark side, if you will.
He was redeemable.
Yeah, he was redeemable bad guy, even though he'd done so many bad things to the point that he still has to go to jail. So I think this gives them a viable way for these characters to spend more time with that character, and also for the father-son relationship to build. So I think that's why they've done this type of story.
This way, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are funny bits within there. Him saying his son needs to get deployed because he's sick of him sitting on his couch.
That motherfucker looks the same age from Bad Boys 1 or 2, whichever one it was. It's the same dude. I swear to God, it could not be a different guy. He's the one who knocks on the door from the first or second one. He's like, "I'm here to pick up your daughter," whatever, and then he gives him shit. It's like,
yeah,
how tall are you, motherfucker?
And then the ending with them stealing the white supremacist clothes, and having to see Mariba. That's amusing. I will say it was very weird. Will Smith should probably keep his hands to himself during the opening. Man, he was putting that hand very close to the camera. You know,
I hate
as
there's
if
not a
to
version of the trailer. You can't put on a version of the trailer that doesn't start with them going, the trailer's about to start. I'm like, yeah, I know. I clicked play. It's starting soon. Yeah, I'm like, I wanted to watch it any second now. Well aware. Just
which
play
one
it.
do you prefer? The actors introducing the trailer or them doing the mini trailer before the trailer?
If I had to pick the mini trailer, and do you know the reason they do it? Because I do know. Do you know why they do it?
I can't remember, but
so the reason they do it is because the way it's integrated ad wise into like YouTube ads and stuff like that is you've got that pre-roll of either the 5-second ones they pay for or whatever, the 15-second ones with the 5-second skip or whatever. But they just go straight into the real video and they link it or whatever. So it has like that part at the start that they link in and it plays that. And then if you keep watching it, instead of skipping it, you just end up watching the whole trailer, obviously.
Yeah, I would assume
it's the same video.
I would also assume it's to get you to get invested in watching the video. Otherwise, when the video starts, it's just going to be logos, right?
Well, no, it wouldn't have to be, would it? The trailer could just start. You would edit your trailer with like a set piece at the start. You wouldn't have a logo or anything. There's no.
All right, well, that's all the trailers we're going to talk about this week. Let's move into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And in order of Monkey Man coming out this week with Dev Patel in an action role. This week's top. That was the impetus.
That was inspiration. Yeah.
This week's top 3 is actors we want to see lead an action movie. I specifically asked for people who have not before. I don't need you to say Keanu Reeves again. Get Keanu Reeves in another action movie. So yeah, Dylan, what's
now clarify. I said I went with not leading.
Not leading.
Not leading. Yes, they could have been in an action film or action property, but not leading. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the face of the movie.
That's fine. Yes. All right. So number 3 on my list, I've gone with Sydney Sweeney. Why not? Okay. She does everything else.
Good choice. You know,
she's had a rom-com, highly successful. She's now gone into a horror movie, highly successful.
She needs to knock that off the genre list.
Yeah, just go make a successful action movie where you're the lead. Forget that Madam Web shit.
Yeah. My number 3, Keke Palmer. Someone just take her character from Nope and put her in an crazy action movie. That seems like a good fit. She seems like she's energetic enough to be someone who would succeed in that sort of setting. So that's my number 3. Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is coming off the back of what I watched this week, Katie O'Brien. Now, she is in Star Wars universe, of course, with Andor, which is action.
No, Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, sorry. But is it Mandalorian?
Yep.
Okay. But she has not. Oh, it's all a big blur to me now. She has not been the lead in any action thing, obviously. Some actiony stuff in Love Lies Bleeding, but not what I'd consider a straight up action movie at all. So I think if anything, just keep that bulk on and basically remake Total Recall if they're just remaking movies. I don't know, do that again. Remake Total Recall again, but it's her.
Any movie that they wanted to put Gina Carano in, you can do now.
Yep.
Pretty much.
My
number 2, Austin Butler. We got to see him do his actiony thing at the end of Dune, but it was only like for 15 minutes. So let him do a whole movie where he's an action star. He can do the Elvis voice. I don't really care. But yeah,
May my knife chip and shatter.
He can even be wearing the makeup. I don't, whatever he needs. He can do the Stellan Skarsgård voice. Yeah, I'll be keen to check that out. Dylan, what is your number 1?
Ana de Armas.
Okay.
Killed it in Bond. Just take that character. Action movie.
Like they're doing in Ballerina, the John Wick spin-off, coming next year now.
Oh, is she in that?
Yep, she is starring in that. She
Yeah,
is
that's cool.
ballerina.
All right, cool. Awesome. All right. My number one pick solved. There you go.
I mean, it's getting extensive reshoots, so I mean, it's not super promising, but
Totally forgot about that. Anyway.
okay.
Not changing my pick. I didn't make a backup. Still Anna de Armas.
My number one is Kristen Stewart. I think she is someone who's done a bunch of weird, like Sydney Sweeney. She's done a bunch of different things. I don't think she's done a straight up action movie. But I think she could do it. She's got, I watched her Day Drinking with Seth Meyers. She's got a fun personality. I think she could, she doesn't need to take herself super seriously. She was super fun in engaging in Charlie's Angels. If you go something a little bit more action heavy, I think she could pull it off. So, yeah.
Well, she said she would do a Marvel movie as long as it's directed by Greta Gerwig. So,
yeah.
There you go.
So once Greta's done with all those Narnia movies,
Yep.
she can do Avengers 17, starring Kristen Stewart
Why not?
as the Wasp 3. I don't know. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
Movie pick. I'm gonna go with Monkey Man, Dev Patel's directorial debut, of course, where he broke his hand. Came to see that.
That's the story now.
Mm.
Broke his hands, had to put a screw in it.
Mm-hmm.
Save the movie.
And much like Tom Cruise, proven he's part of the best action stars that just, break limbs on
Mhm.
set doing stuff. And then from the TV side, Ripley on Netflix.
All right. I'm also going to go Monkey Man. There's, no other choice, really.
I mean, I could have picked The First Omen, but
I mean, yeah, you could pick First Omen. My TV pick is going to be Sugar, which is a new detective series on Apple TV Plus, where Colin Farrell plays a private detective in Hollywood, investigating the disappearance of a Hollywood producer's beloved granddaughter. So yeah, we're getting some PI Colin Farrell. Before we get some we get some penguins Colin Farrell later on TV.
Whatever your bit was just then,
Whatever bits.
completely fucked it up. Yeah.
Fucked it up.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want to watch this week by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser, leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.